We're prepared to get the drill rig onto site immediately after IPO. Majority of our budget is dedicated to actually work on the ground, whether it be drilling or additional geophysics.
Welcome viewers tuning into Assay TV. We're with Culpeo Minerals today, and I'm speaking with Max Tuesley, who is the Managing Director of the company. Welcome, Max.
Thanks very much, Adam.
So Culpeo Minerals is a copper gold explorer with assets in Chile. Can you give us a quick summary of the company at the moment?
The company is obviously a new company. We're about to list on the ASX in Australia. The IPO opened today on the 1st of July, and we'll close on the 22nd of July. So we're hitting the ASX as a new company. We're focusing on high grade exploration projects, as Adam said, in Chile. We are focusing on the coastal Cordillera, which is sort of low altitude area of Chile, close to the coast, very prospective for sort of higher grade IOCG style copper ore bodies. We're also focused on areas where we have existing infrastructure so that our exploration costs are reasonable, and obviously if we do move into development, the cost of development will also be reduced, as opposed to exploring in the high altitude areas of the Andes and things like that. We've got 3 projects in Chile. We have the Potakas Project, the Quelon project, and the San Sebastian project. So we can go into more detail on those during the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. It's really exciting, the IPO is live. Let's just talk about the sort of feeling towards the timing of this. It's pretty good time with where we are in terms of copper and gold in the market cycles. Do you feel that there's good appetite out there, and you've timed this pretty well?
Yeah, I think so, Adam. We've got a bit of a niche in the market where we're targeting the higher grade, sort of 0.8 to 1% copper equivalent ore bodies, open cuttable, so they're easy to extract, and the cost of mining is going to be quite low. I think the market is quite favourable at the moment, particularly in Australia. There's not that many 100% copper focused companies. So I think we've got a bit of a niche in the market there, and obviously I think we'll hit the IPO with a market capitalisation of about 11 million. So I see the opportunity for us to grow as a company, and hopefully grow that share price as we explore these pretty interesting projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, let's talk about the projects then in a little bit more detail, so investors are aware of where the quality and strengths of the assets are. Going through them in turn, you've got Petacas copper project. Talk us about the asset there and what's going on.
Yeah, Petacas is an interesting project. It's located just south of Culpeo City, which is a sort of reasonable populated mining town of over 100,000 people. So it's, as we mentioned before, a lot of infrastructure already in place in the project area. We have power close by. We have a smelter close by, airports. The Pan American Highway runs north-south, just to the west of the project, 5 kilometres to the west. So we're pretty happy that we're in the right jurisdiction there. We are just south of the very large IOCG copper gold project that Lundin Mining has in the area, the Candelaria project, which is an IOCG project, and we believe Petacas got potential to be similar to Candelaria in the fact that we've already discovered outcropping copper mineralisation on the project. There's been some historic drilling with some reasonable intersections in the historic drilling, but the historic drilling has not really been focused on any one area. We've recently completed a geophysical survey over the project, so which we already have 58% of that project as we bought into the project, and we've also spent some money on the project already with a very good geophysical survey. We've already located some significant anomalies in the geophysics that remain undrilled. So we're aiming directly after the IPO to have a drill rig on site drilling some of those geophysical targets, as well as linking some of the historical already mineralized areas that were discovered by the previous explorers. So we're pretty excited. The geophysics suggests that we have some similar geometries to Candelaria. We have some fairly large gradient array IP anomalies that suggest we have sulfides in the rocks. These areas, as I mentioned before, have not been drilled, so the first drilling will target those areas. We've also got some substantial surface geochemistry associated with those geophysical targets, so we're fairly confident that there's certainly something worthy of a drill program in those areas for Petacas.
Excellent. And sorry, just to challenge you on the drill program, was there a date or you're going to define that once you've completed the IPO? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We'll be aiming to be drilling on the first day of listing on the ASX. So at this stage, IPO closes on the 22nd. We'd be hoping to list in the first or second week of August. So we'll be drilling at that time. We plan to conduct at least 3,000 meters initially at Petacas. And depending on what we find, we can easily ramp that up as required.
Excellent. Yeah. So some key dates coming up real soon then. So moving on to the Quelon project, you've got multiple targets there, I understand. Talk us through those. Yeah,
Quelon is a project that's a little bit closer to Santiago City. It's further south of Petacas, and it's a interesting area in the fact that it's also an IOCG style target. There's as you mentioned, there's multiple outcropping copper ore zones on the surface, some of which have been exploited by the local miners in the area. We've got grades varying from 0.05% copper up to 3.5% copper from surface sampling that we've completed. Interestingly, there's been no previous drilling on that project, so we see a lot of upside for us to be the first people to go in there with a drill rig. We also have some historic geophysical data that already pinpointed a few they're almost walk-up drill targets. We need to do a little bit more geological mapping and possibly some more geophysics, but we've got some pretty interesting IP anomalies that correlate quite well to the surface geochemistry, and it won't be long until we can design some drill holes around those. We're budgeting for the fourth quarter of this year to be drilling at Quelon, so that'll be after the maiden drilling program at Petacas.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and your third project, San Sebastian, you mentioned. Talk us through that one.
Yeah, San Sebastian is a tenement that we've picked up that covers an old mining area, actually a little bit north of Culpeo City. That's an interesting project, very high grade, structurally controlled vein copper mineralization. As I mentioned, has been mined by the local miners, and we'd be intending to go back there and do further sampling, and we do have a budget to do some drilling at that San Sebastian. That'll probably be in early 2022, sorry. Yeah.
Just to touch on, what's the situation on the ground in Chile, an update there? Obviously, it's been a hugely disruptive couple of years for everyone, but mining's been able to operate quite well despite the travel restrictions and pandemic. But what's the situation on the ground with Chile?
Yeah, look, Chile's probably one of the more advanced countries with their vaccination program. I think they're up there in the top 5. So they're certainly working towards getting everyone vaccinated. As you mentioned, most of the mine projects have been able to operate. There's quite a stringent set of requirements if you're traveling between provinces in Chile, but if you follow the rule book and get your approvals, there's no issue moving people from, say, Santiago to the project areas. We're quite lucky in the fact that Petacas in particular is situated very close to Culpeo City, which is a regional mining centre. So there are drill rigs and drillers, even geologists and field technicians are available in that particular city. So we won't be needing to bring anyone in from outside of the region. The Assay lab is also situated in that city. So as long as we can sort of keep our focus on Petacas and utilize the local infrastructure, I don't think we're going to have a major problem. When we've already got drill rigs lined up to enter the property, as I mentioned in early August.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and going a bit under the hood of the company then, who's in the team and what expertise have they brought in internationally but also locally?
Yeah, I'll start with myself. Obviously, I'm a geologist by trade. I've spent the majority of my career either in Australia working on base metals and copper deposits, and for the last 15 years I've worked internationally in the Philippines, Mongolia, Central Asia and Africa, again with the focus on copper. The time spent in Australia was focused for quite a while on IOCG style deposits. So I've got a good background in that sort of geology. Our other directors are a mixture of geologists and mining engineers. Our chairman, Jeff McNamara, he's a geologist. He's got substantial experience in the private equity area and has been involved in the financial side of things for quite a large part of his career. So he brings a lot of connections in that industry to the table. Zeph Reeves, the other director, he's a geologist also. He's extremely experienced in Chile. He's currently the managing director of another Chilean-focused gold company called Tesoro Resources. So they've been very successful recently in the discovery of a greenfields gold deposit there. Jeff is also involved in that company. So both those gentlemen, bring quite a lot of Chilean history with them and experience. Our other director is a mining engineer, Paul Schmid. He's a seasoned campaigner. Obviously, spent the early part of his career in Australia, but recently he's been involved in quite a lot of feasibility study work and resource definition work in Africa, working for a number of companies there. And our corporate secretary, Shannon Coates, she's a lawyer by trade, very well respected in the Australian mining fraternity. So the board is relatively young in age. I think we've got a bit of energy there. So we're prepared to probably get stuck into it and hopefully discover something that can add value to the shareholders.
Yeah, absolutely. So to sum up that value proposition then, as it stands, you've got the IPO, it's closing 22nd of July, I think he said. But just sum up the proposition for investors that are looking to get in on this interesting copper gold play.
Yeah, I think I think we offer an opportunity here. We've done the groundwork. We've done some, we've already done the geophysics. We've done the surface mapping. We've got the geochemistry. I think we've got some very, very well-defined targets. We're prepared to get the drill rig onto site immediately after IPO. Majority of our budget is dedicated to actually work on the ground, whether it be drilling or additional geophysics. The market capitalisation at IPO will be $11 million Australian, which puts us at, I think, a very good position to increase wealth for the shareholder, or increase value for the shareholder. Some of our peers that are exploring in Chile, they've got much larger market capitalizations than that. And I think some of our projects offer the opportunity for some better grades than maybe some of the other guys in the same sphere. And being a dedicated copper explorer, particularly on the Australian ASX, there's not too many others to choose from. So I think that gives us a bit of a niche in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great. Really good to have a rundown and introduction of the company, Max. We're very much looking forward to catching up again on the news flow and some of the drilling once the IPO concludes. So best of luck with the listing, and thanks for speaking with Assay TV.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adam.